Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Ira DeWitt. Ira DeWitt, a music executive with a PhD in education, has always chosen to do things her own way. When a friend was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, she wanted to give her something more purposeful than flowers or a card, something that evoked a sense of comfort and spirituality. Ira decided to create something herself, and this is how Saint Candles, modern prayer candles for a cause, was born. Well, good afternoon, Ira. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. This is awesome. Doing a slew of podcasts today, but what's exciting is I get to kind of round out the evening with some great guests on the show. So thank you again, Ira, for joining. And Ira, we're going to jump right into these questions. You've got quite the career in music. You've got a PhD in education. You're an entrepreneur and now the founder and CEO of Saint Candles. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
I always follow the path of what kind of gets me excited about things that I want to do or I want to see in the marketplace. I mean, I initially got a PhD because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And I was like really, really interested in psychology. But ultimately, I realized it wasn't my passion. And my passion since I was a little girl was music. So I decided to follow that. And it was really hard doing it from St. Louis because there's not like a huge opportunity for people that are, that want to pursue acting or music. But I somehow managed a way to, because of the digital, platform of music, to be able to immerse myself in music. And then when I retired a couple of years ago, I had a friend whose son was really, really sick with some mental health issues. And I wanted to do something that was something that would make her feel better about the situation. So I went to Catholic Supply. She had everything that money could buy. So I didn't want to give her flowers or a casserole or even a present. So I thought, okay, I'm going to Catholic Supply and I'm going to give her some a beautiful saint candle. I don't know what your religious background is, but Catholics, we pray to different saints for different reasons. There's a saint of healing, Saint Raphael. So I went to Catholic Supply and I thought, okay, surely by now there's some really cute Catholic candles out there with the saints, but I realized that there was really nothing. And I decided from there that I would actually make my own saint candles. And when I went to the manufacturer, you can't just make one candle. He's like, the minimum order is 500, lady. And I was like, okay, fine. So I ordered 500 to give away one and I gave the rest away. And from that, people started coming back to me and, asking for more candles. Hey, my mom's sick. My friend's going through a divorce. Can I buy a candle from you? And after giving away another 500 candles, we decided to, because of the religious component, partnered up with St. Jude and start selling the candles. So I know, you asked me a very simple question. I give you a very complicated answer, but I basically pursue what I'm passionate about. And what I feel like there's not basically a white space in the market. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. This is, then this,
I know you got a mouthful for me.
Well, you say, hey, you ask me a small question, you get a long answer. And what we hear out of this, and this is exactly what I like about the podcast, Ira, is that we get to hear your true passion. You can say you're passionate, but we get to actually hear the inflection in your voice when you talk about this story. And I think the story is amazing. I was raised Catholic as well. And so the story resonates with me. So thank you very much. And Ira, what was the single biggest business decision you had to make during the first year of the pandemic, during this lockdown, and how
during the pandemic, all businesses were kind of at a standstill, but I don't know, because people were in their homes, people were really still ordering a lot of candles still on the internet. And, it was interesting because people lost their sense of smell and we'd get feedback hey, your candles don't smell the same. In fact, I got a candle that doesn't smell at all. because of one of the symptoms of COVID was the loss of smell. So I thought that was funny. But one thing I did differently during the pandemic that I think that any other business did not do was where everyone was going through like a digital like advertising space, I actually decided to open up a retail store.
Wow.
And, it was like a big risk for me. And it's, it turned out to be a good decision. And like, from what I understand, the digital, advertising marketplace is like quadrupled in like advertising dollars. So I think that I've made the right decision.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing it. And it was a challenge for many people during the pandemic, especially brick and mortar. So I'm glad that you did well during this time. And Ira, are you leveraging any new or emerging technologies within your business? If not, maybe you can share a cool tool or app that you use in your business today or personally.
I don't really know much about technology, but my really best friend, who actually ended up like doing all the technology for me, her name is Mindy. She basically runs our plant now. She's like got a background in IT. She does all that, and I know nothing about technology. I really don't. And let me think of a cool app personally. I love Instagram. And I think I post a lot on Instagram. Actually, Saint by Ira DeWitt is my Instagram handle for the business. And Ira DeWitt, I lied. Ira Myra. Ira_Myra is my personal one. So that's like my favorite personal app. And I've actually found it to be a great marketing tool for the business too. So that's my only like bit of technology. And I'm on TikTok all day too when I have like 5 minutes of free time. I don't know if that's what you meant by that question, but.
Yeah, no, that's great. We all leverage some sort of technology, especially in this digital age. But right now, TikTok, Instagram, a lot of these social apps are ways to connect and engage with your customers. So I appreciate you sharing that. And the fact that you're diving in on this. A lot of people start a business, don't know what to do with the technology. So you're doing the right thing. So yeah, you bet. Ira, last question here. Can you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in maybe education, music, or even entrepreneurship? Any one of those?
I think you have to, like anything you like pursue, like whether it's big or small, like you have to dedicate. I think like the first thing like I always do before I do anything is research, right? Like, is there a need for what I'm trying to do? And just because there could be a need or maybe not a need for what you like, listen, the last thing that the world needed was another candle line, right? But like, how do you differentiate yourself from your other competitors, right? So I think that's like and then going after that, I think you have to set like realistic goals for yourself, right? Okay, I'm going to, first of all, you need a great lawyer, right? Like great attorney to get your LLCs and your, intellectual property set up, right? So I think like it's all like baby steps until you get to the bigger step. And even before you start, like do the research to see what's needed in the marketplace and how you are going to be different than like the next person,
Absolutely. I love I call them gems. Some people call them nuggets, but you've actually shared some valuable information that someone here on this podcast globally will take it to heart. So thank you again for sharing that. And Ira, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon. Bye for now.